Hi everyone, my name is Jimmy Smith. I am a proud member of the Cathedral Prep class of 2011, and I have the pleasure of working here at Prep in our Advancement and Alumni Relations office. Welcome to episode number 105 of the Rambler Podcast, where we are passionate about sharing what makes Cathedral Prep the standard of excellence. We're excited to welcome Isabella Speros and Jack Raimy on as a guest for the podcast. Bella is a graduate of St. Jude School and made a tremendous impact during her time at Prep. She served as student council class president, participated in numerous theater productions as both a performer and a student director and choreographer, and was a member of show choir. Bella also earned the distinction of being a two-time PMEA All-State musician and was inducted into the National Honor Society. This fall, she will be attending University of Maryland, where she plans to major in marketing. Jack is a graduate of Erie Day School before coming to Prep and was actively involved in many aspects of student life here at Prep. He was a member of the National Honor Society, campus ministry, student council, and the rally crew. In addition to his leadership and service, Jack distinguished himself as one of the most accomplished swimmers in school history. As captain of the swim team, he earned 14 PIAA state medals and was a part of 2 state championship teams and captured an individual state championship in the 100-yard butterfly. This fall, Jack will attend Colgate University, where he plans to major in economics. So, Bella and Jack, I'm thrilled to have you on the podcast. Welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having us. I'm so excited.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. You guys, so it's fun to record this. Usually, so every year I like to have 2 seniors on. We record it before graduation, but this time the timing worked out. It's after you guys have already graduated. Yeah. So how's it feel?
Great. Officially alumni.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels so good to finally be done.
Yeah. You guys are officially have walked, got your diploma, done all that, and both of you had an opportunity to speak at graduation too, and you both did a great job.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's amazing how fast those 4 years go by, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, seriously. I feel like, everybody says this, but it seriously feels like just yesterday we were freshmen. And then here we are. So it's crazy.
Yeah, I feel like it definitely seems like cliche to say that, high school goes by so fast. And I remember being in freshman 7 our freshman year, and like guidance will come in and seniors will come in and say like, these 4 years go by so fast. You don't realize it until you're a senior.
Yeah. How quick that really goes. Yeah, and it's funny, those 4 years, and I'm sure now you both have dads that graduated from Prep, and I'm sure they told you all their Prep stories, through the years, and yeah, and so it's funny how those 4 years are something you guys will, carry with you the rest of your lives. So it's cool that you guys are a part of that now, as well. And, kind of reflecting on your time at Prep, the whole, part of your guys' story is being a part of that first class that were freshmen for the co-ed school. So you guys didn't know any different, as, people have said, than just co-ed Prep. But also a couple years before that was, in 2020 when the announcement of that co-ed school was made. I know, Bella, you spoke a little bit about it in your speech. But can you guys each kind of talk about, what were your first impressions? For those who didn't hear your speech, Bella, can you talk about it again? And then Jack, can you share kind of your perspective as well?
Yeah. So like you said, I said it in my speech on this past Sunday, but when I first heard the news, I think I got home from school and my parents told me. I was so mad. Because my whole life, my aunt had gone to Villa. I had gone to Little Villa before it closed. Mm-hmm. And so when Little Villa closed, I was like, okay, but I'm so excited I get to go to Big Villa still. Get to be a Victor. Yeah. And then as soon as I heard the news about the consolidation, I was like, I think I cried. Like, I was so angry. But of course, I got used to it as, I graduated 8th grade, and I ultimately did make the decision to continue to come here to Prep. And I'm so happy I did because, like people have said, it's not really anything different than we've ever known. We've kind of gone to like co-ed schooling our whole lives. Yeah. Going to the Catholic schools before this. So like some of the guys are my best friends, and like I'm just so happy that I made the decision, and I definitely got over how mad I was initially.
Now be honest, for a little bit, did you think of not going to Prep because of it? Were you a little upset?
I definitely did consider other schools, but I wouldn't say that it was because of that. Like my parents, although my dad went to Prep and they kind of figured that all 4 of me and my siblings would go to Prep, I still wanted to shout out the other schools. So I shouted Mercyhurst, I shouted McDowell, and just kind of made my own decision based off of like those experiences. And I think Prep just had the most of like what I was looking for in a school. So that was kind of what made me.
Did you shadow? This is a funny question. Did you shadow at Prep, or was it at Villa?
Yeah, it was at Villa.
It was at Villa, yeah.
I remember it was kind of an odd experience because I wasn't getting the experience of what I was going to be
Right.
freshman year, but I still liked it a lot.
Yeah, that's good. The people, the teachers, what was going to be able to be provided. Yeah, that's fun. I didn't know before asking that question maybe what the answer would be, so I'm glad that worked out well. What about you, Jack?
Yeah, I agree with Bella a lot. I remember when I heard about it, I was definitely disappointed. You know, I'd heard so much about the Prep Brotherhood and my dad going there and my uncles and just so many friends and family friends. But although I was disappointed, I was also excited, you know. I guess like ever since I was a kid, I'd always just like assumed that I was going to go to Prep. Never like really thought about going anywhere else. So having that like all boys experience in high school in the back of my mind for so long, it was just like different at first, like, oh wow, like I'm gonna be going to high school with girls now, but it wasn't like a game changer, you know what I mean? I was just like excited to see what the experience is gonna be like. So yeah, I was disappointed, but nothing like.
Yeah, it's almost like you're losing something, but you didn't have it anyway because you went to grade school with girls, so like you guys already had that experience. Yeah, it's kind of that interesting perspective from yours, especially your dad and whatnot.
Yeah. But me and Bella actually, we both did the 8th grade honors program. So I was at Prep like with all guys for like 2 periods.
Okay.
So I got like a snippet of what it was like. But that was it.
And at that time, there was a lot of construction going on. So you were probably wearing a winter coat while you were in class. Yeah.
There's a lot of winter coats, a lot of noise. Yeah.
So my first stint at Prep was 2017 to 2020. I was the manager of the event center over there. I left for just a year, and then I came back to work in the advancement department in 2021. So right before that school year that you guys were here. So I do remember a lot of the construction that was going on, a lot of the mess that was here on the campus. And then really through that summer, the sprint that a lot of the faculty and staff had to get the building ready to welcome all you guys for the first school year. So here you guys are walking in as freshmen. Kind of take me through, what was your experience? I know we delayed school by like 2 weeks that year, so it was after Labor Day, I think is when we started. But what was your guys' first impression, like walking into this new campus now, under this new school, this new umbrella of what Prep was going to be?
Yeah, so actually, when I was a freshman, growing up, I always thought like, oh, my first day of high school, I'm gonna walk in alone. But actually, I had my little sister in the 8th grade honors program, and then a senior exchange student that we were hosting that year. So my dad was dropping 3 girls off at Prep, and so I kind of had, some people to go in with. But I remember really liking it. Like I had gone to the open house before, so I could see the new renovations and how they incorporated like the old building with the new like SLC and everything. But yeah, I mean, it was a great experience. I remember walking in and I saw a lot of familiar faces. Just going to like St. Jude, one of the Catholic schools. We all kind of play each other in sports, and a lot of us were friends before. But everyone was just trying to find their footing and try to figure out where to sit at lunch.
Yeah.
And all the classes during the day. I remember I got so lost.
Yeah.
Because like now, obviously, I know that school like the back of my hand, but when you're there for the first time, it can be kind of confusing. A lot of the hallways look the same. And
you don't realize when you're maybe in the science wing that doesn't go up to the 4th floor and to the 3rd floor to connect over.
The hard way.
Yeah.
I remember, walking in, I was definitely really nervous. It wasn't like a totally new environment because, like I said, I had taken the 8th grade honors program. So yeah, I had been taking math and science at the school, but the renovations were completely done, like you said. So that first day walking in, it was definitely like, kind of like a shock is like how nice it was. I remember seeing the SLC and it was like, oh my gosh, like this is so nice. But yeah, I was more excited than nervous, just like meet new people and stuff. There's so many more people in the school than like my previous middle schools. So
yeah, and the SLC is fun. So there's alumni who will reach out to our office to receive tours of the school now that they haven't maybe been here in 10, 20, 30 years. I walk them into the SLC and I'm like, this is where the cafeteria is now. And they're like, what? They don't have to go into the basement of the cathedral anymore? And like, yeah, these kids have no idea, what that was like and whatnot. But the SLC, obviously a great highlight of the school. And then we had renumbered all the classrooms during that like summer. So a lot of the kids who were sophomores or juniors or seniors when you were freshmen, it was kind of them getting lost too, because we had renumbered everything into a different order and pattern. So kind of was fresh for everybody, fresh eyes, fresh perspective coming into the building. Yeah. So when you kind of like start to reflect now, I'm sure you guys have had many moments with your friends and you're, talking about your years at prep, and you'll be doing that for a while. But when you kind of reflect on your time at prep, when did you have a sense of like feeling this is where I belong? Like this is a school. I'm glad I made this choice. When did that maybe happen for you?
I think I was thinking about this before, and I think it was the very first Mary's Day that we had, which became like my all-time favorite tradition that we have at prep. But like throughout that freshman year, I went to my classes, went to homecoming, went to all the traditions. But I think seeing our school come together like that in such a special way to honor Mary, while also honoring some of the seniors that I had come to know throughout my freshman year, it was just the most special day. Like seeing all the cards. I think the cards, like I didn't know that was a thing before coming into prep, and then when we were writing the cards and then just like reading them and opening them up with my classmates, I was like, this community is not just a school, it's seriously a family, like people say it is. And like I just really felt like everybody at prep truly cares about each other, and I think that was the time that I realized that like this was where it was supposed to be.
Yeah. Mary's Day is a really special tradition now here at prep, and obviously it was a village tradition all those years, and it's one of my favorite times of the year, be able to experience that. And thank you, Bella, for writing me a card this year. That was very kind of you. Yeah, I don't get a ton of cards because our office doesn't do a lot of work with the students, so to speak. So I usually get just a couple, and I appreciate you doing that. But Mary's Day is so special, just a great celebration of faith, inside the school, and relationships and all those different moments that you spoke about. I just love what the day represents and what it means. And I understand now why Villa alumni, that's all they talk about is Mary's Day and Sports Day. Those are the two they always talk about. Yeah. What about you, Jack? Yeah.
I agree with Bella. Mary's Day is so special. But I would say for me, coming in just like those first couple months, it was really, I didn't have any troubles really. I met some new friends. My classes were fine. Everything was fine. But once the swim team started up and I started to get really, really close with the guys on the swim team, I think that's when I was really like, wow, like this is where I belong.
Yeah.
Just like the bond you make with teammates in a sport is like no other. So
a little bit of locker room hazing, right? It's a little bit. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. It was just, I loved every second, the coaches, the teammates, everything. So I think that's when I was like.
And was Coach Whitman the head coach of the boys program at the same time for you?
That was her first year.
Okay, yeah. And obviously she's a tremendous coach, and how fortunate that we have her here at prep, and obviously you did very well under her tutelage. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm sure we'll bring her up a little bit later too. And so, it's really neat. I really appreciate you guys coming on the podcast, because it's funny. We kind of started the school year off. You two were speakers at our President's Leadership Council event. And since that moment, I kind of had you guys tabbed as maybe I'd, choose you for the podcast too. But it's funny. We kind of started the school year off with you guys that way. We're ending this school year off with you guys on the podcast. But reflecting on that moment of being invited to come speak at our President's Leadership Council event, for those listening, those are for our donors who make at least a gift of $1,500 or more throughout a whole fiscal year. So it's basically, the top percentage of donors to the school we invited in to host for a reception, and you two had an opportunity to speak at that event. What was it like for you guys to see, a lot of alumni, and supporters in the building who are basically helping support your guys' efforts as students? What was that like for you guys?
Yeah, I think it was a really cool opportunity for us not only to speak and share our experience with all the supporters of prep, but just to have conversations with them and see like what keeps people coming back. You know what I mean? Like some of the people that were there went to the school like 20, 30 years ago more. And it was just a really great experience to talk to them and see how, the school has evolved over the years, and, comparing and contrasting our experiences. But then also, like I said, the reason that they keep coming back, the reason they keep supporting us as students and all the events, and just why the school is so special to them. Like I said, like my dad went to prep, my aunt went to Villa, my dad, like all of his best friends still are prep and Villa grads. And so, like, growing up, I've seen how that, like, the prep and Villa bond and brotherhood and sisterhood kind of creates that, like, lifetime bond. But at the President's Leadership Council, seeing all those people come back and why the school is so important to them. I think it is really cool to see as somebody about to graduate.
Yeah, I agree. That was definitely super cool to see. You hear a lot about how special and big the Prep alumni and Prep Villa alumni system is, but that was really, I guess, my first time actually, getting a chance to see and talk to a lot of the alumni. And I remember writing my speech and thinking about just how passionate I am about some of the stuff I was saying. And like my experience at prep. And then when I actually gave my speech and just talking to the alumni after, it made me realize like it's such a shared experience. Like people are just as passionate, if not more, than me about prep or in Villa. So it was really special to just see that prep family come back and keep supporting.
Yeah, it's a common bond we all share as being alumni of the school, whether it's prep or Villa. We all have that same heartbeat of, really holding ourselves to a different standard of excellence in the world and, aspiring for leadership and making an impact in our communities. And, it all started for us at a foundation of prep or Villa, is what kind of got us in the right direction. And it's fun from my perspective because that's what I do all the time is talk with alumni and supporters about why they're passionate about the school. And then when I get to participate in things where I'm working with the students, whether it's Legacy Gala like you guys were both at or PLC or Mary's Day, it just reminds me of what makes this school so special is what you guys experienced for those 4 years, and now you're alumni and now you get to be on the other side of it for the rest of your life. So and we've spoken many times about your family legacies, coming from fathers who attended the school, your aunt went to Villa. I guess what does that mean for you guys in terms of being able to be kids that can carry that tradition on for your family, so to speak?
I think it was really special. So although my parents did kind of like leave the decision open to me, I think they always kind of knew where it would end up. I mean, obviously they thought it was Villa, but here we are. And I wouldn't have it any other way. But I think it was really special because growing up, I would always hear, the stories of like my dad and his friends kind of, and all the shenanigans going on at prep. And then of course from my aunt at Villa, like just she's still best friends with all of her, Villa sisters. And I think that's so special. So to kind of carry on that legacy in a new way at the new school or is combined, I think is really special. And then my 2 younger siblings, well, I have 3, but my younger sister Coco is going to be a senior next year. So she's going to go through this whole process again, just next year. And then my younger brother, William, is a freshman this year. So he'll be a sophomore. So watching them kind of go through the process and seeing them, William this year have the whole freshman experience was really special. And then my younger brother, Everett, I think he's always decked out in all the prep merch. So I think if any of us were going to go to him, it's him or go to prep, it's him. So, he's super excited. So it's just been really cool to have that whole family experience and, to kind of see how the school has evolved and then how my family's kind of, evolved with that.
Yeah, that's fine. You're the oldest of them, so you get to kind of lead the pack and lead the way for their time at prep, from that perspective. And then you had an older sister, Jack, who graduated from the school already.
Yeah. So she was a junior when I was a freshman and then a senior when I was a sophomore. And it was really cool to go to school with her.
Wow.
I had gone to school with her previously at St. Jude, but to be in a high school setting and a prep, it was a lot different. It was really cool. And then again, my dad and my uncles went to prep, and so just to think I can continue this legacy and walk the same halls as they did, all those years ago. It's so cool to think about.
Yeah, it's one of the staples of prep is just being a part of that legacy. That's obviously the name of our magazine and our gala. It's all about legacy, and those are just impactful words when you really reflect on what that means. It means something, right? It's not just another school. So, and then through your guys' years, beyond your family, you've had teachers and coaches and, mentors, so to speak, who have been here to help, through your time at prep. If you had a chance, now to be able to talk about just a couple folks who really made a difference for you, who kind of helped guide you during your years at prep.
Yeah. So I mean, it's hard to choose. There's so many mentors at prep. I mean, so many teachers, so many students, so just faculty members, coaches, but if I had to say the most impactful probably was one of them is definitely Sonia, Coach Sonia Whitman. She's, I've spent 4 years with her. She's been coaching me and she's just had such an impact on my life, further than just coaching swimming, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A good coach can have, they can take you further than just like excelling you in your sport. They can give you like life advice and just help you become like a better person. And I can't even like list the amount of times I've gone to her for help, not like outside of swimming, just personal problems, or like if I have a question with this, question with that. And she's never not been so helpful to me. So Sonia is definitely one of the most special people that I've got to meet at prep.
Does she have any cliches or sayings that you guys like tease her about as a coach? Is there anything that she just like always says?
Not really, not off the top of my head.
If you think about it while we're talking, just say, "Oh, I got one." Yeah, just interrupt. Because I know her from a professional standpoint too. Because of course she works here as our vice president of strategic marketing and communication. So I'm imagining she's a different type of person in the aquatic center coaching than she is in a meeting, with board members and such. So, but nonetheless, if you think of any cliches, let me know, because I got to write those down and teach her. Yeah. How about for you, Bella?
Yeah, I think it's hard to name just one. There's been so many people that have guided me through my time here at Prep. But I think to name a few, I think Father Mike, being in the feeder program has been so influential in my time here, not only for feeder, but, as a priest through my faith. And I like go to him about anything, and he's just the best.
Yeah.
So loving and such a great guy. But definitely Father Mike. I think also this year, especially, two people that I think have like really come into my like academic experience this year, and that was Mrs. Duda, who she was actually on maternity leave for a lot of this year, but when she was there, she's just the best. I've always been like super artsy, but at Prep I haven't had a whole lot of time to like take the art classes that I wanted to take. But this year I was in AP Studio Art, which was just the coolest experience ever. So if you're not familiar with it, it's just like an AP class where normally there'd be a test at the end, but it's actually a portfolio of work that you submit. So all of your work has to have like a shared theme, and it was just a really cool experience creating that. But Mrs. Duda was just really awesome in helping us, guide us through our like artistic journeys. But then also just she would come and have a conversation about like anything with us, and just kind of debrief the day, and she would turn on movies, music, whatever. But she was awesome. And then one more person, Father Ben, joined us this year.
Yeah.
And I can't say enough good things about him. I think everybody that knows him knows that he's just like the nicest person.
I was about to say the nicest guy.
The nicest guy I think I've ever met. He's like, when you're talking to him, you can just tell that he's like seriously taking in everything that you're saying, and like will give you the best advice. He's just the sweetest guy.
Very genuine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very,
like you could tell, just like you said, having a conversation with him, that he truly cares about what you're saying and what you have to say. And I don't think I've ever passed him in the halls where he hasn't given me a fist bump. So like keep it up. Like it's just to hear that, throughout your day.
Yeah.
Whether you're having a good day or a bad day, it's so nice to hear. It's so, people take that for granted sometimes.
Yeah. Well, and chaplain of Prep, that's big shoes, big job to fill, especially after Father Jason was here as long as he was. So definitely need to have the right cultural fit, but I would say they nailed it on the head with this one. Yeah, and it seems like it's been a great asset to the school. Yeah, well, that's awesome. I really appreciate you guys sharing, who were some of those people that really made a difference for you. Because it is those faces, those teachers, those coaches that you're going to think about years from now and what they did for you over the years. And obviously they've impacted a lot of people during their time through whether they're teaching a class or they're coaching, in the pool specifically with Sonia. But that's what makes Prep so special, is those people that are, working with you guys on a day-to-day basis.
Yes.
All right, so if you had to describe the Prep experience, to an incoming freshman, what's maybe one or two sentences that you would say what it's like to be a Rambler at Prep?
It's hard to put into one or two sentences.
Yeah, I know.
I would probably say something like, it's such a great experience where you can meet lifelong friends and excel in your academics and your athletics, growing in your faith and just having a great time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would kind of take inspiration from like our motto a little bit. Like we say, developing men and women of vision in spirit, mind, and body. And I think that couldn't be more true. So like going into Prep, I obviously didn't really know what that meant. But now being an alumni, I think it's truly, if I would put it into like a sentence or two, it's truly an experience that helps you grow in spirit, mind, and body. I mean, your academics, your faith, if you're doing sports or theater or, any other extracurriculars, it's truly an experience that like you don't have to specialize in one thing. Like a lot of people do, but you can grow in so many aspects of your life. And I think that's one of the coolest things about prep is that there's so many different opportunities to take different classes, to meet new people, to just like do things that you wouldn't do otherwise. And so I think, yeah, an experience that really challenges you and helps you to grow in spirit, mind, and body would be how I would describe it.
Yeah, it's so hard to put into words, right? I mean, it's how do you summarize 4 years of an experience?
It's almost impossible.
Yeah. Oftentimes people ask me, you know, what was my favorite memories of my time at prep? And it's always like, it's not just one thing. It's for me the day-to-day camaraderie that I shared, you know, and the experiences that we had through those years. I can think back to different classroom experiences, whether they were funny moments or they were academic moments, or on I played baseball, so out on the, you know, baseball field, you know, doing that. But it was just the day-to-day camaraderie that I always look back at, that I'm like, that's what made it so special, was like with my teachers, with my coaches, with my classmates, with upperclassmen, lowerclassmen. Like it was just all part of what made the experience special. And it's hard to put that into words unless you've listened or you've walked through those shoes. And I can imagine the alumni who are listening to this are just nodding their head, agreeing.
Yeah.
But to explain it to like an 8th grader or a 7th grader, it's like you just can't put it into words.
Yeah, something you gotta experience.
Yeah, and that's what makes it special, though, too. Yeah. No, that's so cool. So speaking of like day-to-day, you know, ness of the school, you know, outside of like the big events like Mary's Day, rallies, stuff like that, what do you think you guys will miss the most about being students at prep on just the day-to-day level of being here?
I think just knowing that like you could turn the corner at any hallway and like have a friend there.
Yeah.
Like having, I mean, it's not like the smallest school ever, but over these 4 years, I think I've gotten to know like everybody in my class, and I don't know as many of like the freshmen and sophomores as I did when I was like, you know, sophomore, junior. But I think just being able to, like I said, like have friends pretty much wherever you go.
Yeah.
Is one of the coolest things. So I'll definitely miss knowing a lot of the people. Like I'm going to UMD, so I'm not gonna know anybody.
Yeah,
like,
that's gonna be a big change. Yeah, really Colgate, Maryland, those are big changes. Yeah.
So, I think just being able to see my friends every day and, you know, have that shared experience of going to the school together for 4 years, and, you know, all the jokes that come out of like the different classes and all of our shared memories. Definitely miss that the most.
Yeah,
I agree 100%. That was my answer. Just like I feel like you take it for granted, you know, being able to walk the halls and you see all your friends, like say what's up to them, and then you go, you know, you're at your locker and you see more friends, and you go to your class and you have class with all your friends. You know, it's just like all day. You're just surrounded by teachers, faculty, and students who are just all like all your friends.
Yeah,
and you get to see them every day. That's definitely what I'm gonna miss the most.
Like I always say, I'd go to school in the summer if I didn't have to do any work. I love being there.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I loved my time at prep, and like I tried to soak it in as much as I can. So when you say that, like I would have been that same kid. Like sign me up for summer experience. So I'm not gonna call it summer school, but like let me get the extra time in the building while I can be here. Yeah, friendships are what really make it so important, and then that shared experience, that shared bond of being there together is what's so cool. And you know, it makes me think about, you know, for you guys, you know, when you're in your, you know, 20th reunion and whatnot, and you're, you know, getting together with your classmates and you're talking about your time at prep. I know it's hard to think that far out, but outside of like Mary's Day, because we've talked about that one, is there any other special traditions or things here at prep that you're going to remember more so than others, you think, in your opinion, that really made a difference for you?
Off the top of my head right now, the rallies are like always so much fun.
Yeah.
Not only are they so much fun, just no matter what grade you're in, to watch them or whether you're participating in them, but it's so cool to see how much support is shared throughout the school. Like no matter what the team is, you know, people are always showing up for you and supporting you. And I mean, like having a rally for you know what I mean? Yeah. So the rallies, off the top of my head right now, are definitely something that I'm going to miss.
Yeah. And that was fun. Last June at this time, we brought together like a lot of seniors to talk about we wanted this school year to be the best school year on school spirit and getting people to games, and really kind of like the administration and faculty came to you guys and said, what do we need to do to help support you guys in those efforts? And it seemed like this year was probably by far one of the best school spirit years. Would you agree that you were for?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
I remember that meeting. I think like one of the biggest goals that we had was to make, like, I'm up on rally crew, but I remember people were saying, like, we wanted to make the rallies and like all the celebrations something that felt inclusive, so that when you're walking in as freshmen, you're like, oh, I don't understand the jokes. It was like, no, this is so cool. Like, I get what's happening. And I think like they did a really good job of making everybody feel included.
Yeah. I always like going to the rallies, I always block it off on my, calendar to make sure I stop by for that.
Yeah.
I like to come for quarter sessions, some of those bigger events like that. The rallies for sure, based on my just passionate about it from when I was a student. But you guys really did a good job of like setting the tone this year with the first rally. I mean, it was like the first or second day of school.
Yeah.
We had a rally.
I think it was the first day of school.
Yeah.
Something, yeah.
It was close, yeah.
We had to kind of push Mrs. Seep a little bit, Mr. Lattiser, but they were okay with it. We said we want to start the school year this way, and it was so neat to see your class come together and really help lead those efforts. So kudos to you guys, because that's such an important part of the school is that experience too. And to your point, letting freshmen, they're freshmen. Know what's going on too. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Passing of the baton, so to speak, to those underclassmen. But Bella, what about you? Jack was talking about the rallies. How about you for...
I think you mentioned quarter sessions. It's not as, like crazy as the rallies, but I'll definitely remember those. And then also I think just like, we do this every week, but I think going to mass as a school is something that I'll remember a lot. I mean, I'm going to like a public state school, so I'm not going to have that at all, really.
Right.
But I think coming together as a community to celebrate our faith is so special, and just we're so lucky and blessed that we get to do that. So I think that, although it's not like a one-time-a-year tradition, I'll definitely miss it a lot. And just, having students reading and students doing the music and, having a lot of participation, I think is so special. So I'll definitely, in 20 years, remember that.
Yeah. It is such a core component of what we believe in here at Prep, is our faith is, an aspect of so crucial to our life. You take it for granted, for sure.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think like just having that every week and throughout the entirety of the school year, all 4 years, it can be overlooked sometimes almost, like, oh, it's just another Thursday where we have mass. But now, especially towards the end of senior year, where you're thinking like, this is the last Bible mass, and we're like, I'm never going to be in this group again, meeting every week for mass. It's kind of like, hate you, like, wow, like, that's crazy, I'm just so grateful to have that opportunity to, unite as a one school and praise the Lord.
Yeah, absolutely. Amen to that. And I think for me, like, I don't always get to all the masses, of course, but I block off some through the year to be able to attend, and especially quarter sessions, since those are only 3 during the year. It's neat to see the freshmen, like, because they're usually in the back, and I'll kind of stay in the back of, some of those services and whatnot. It's neat to see they're kind of like taking it in, what quarter sessions is, or taking in like going to mass for the first few times, because some of those kids are coming from public schools too, so they're not used to that experience. And whether they're Catholic or not, just having that chance to just focus on Christ, right? Exactly. Just a prayerful time to just slow down from the academics, sports, and just reset. Yeah.
To your point, like, I'm not Catholic. I was baptized Greek Orthodox, and that's like what I practice still. And that was actually one of like my hesitation. It stopped me from coming to prep, but like, I'm not Catholic. I'll have gone to Catholic school my whole life, but I did not feel like that was an issue at all. Like, I went and got blessings during when people go for reconciliation, and ended up going to adoration all the time, like, throughout my time here. So I think, like you mentioned that with the freshmen, I just wanted to like bring that up for anybody listening who might not be Catholic.
Yeah. And also, on another thing is being able to have mass in the cathedral is such a blessing. The cathedral is so beautiful. Yeah. And to like, it's just a short walk over there. Yeah. Like you said, like a break from classes, just like a deep breath, and you get to pray and have church, and such a beautiful environment. It's like, it's so nice.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think everybody here, definitely not, is Catholic necessarily. So the message to, families or kids listening to this would be, you don't have to be Catholic to come to prep. If you are, even better. But if you're not, that's perfectly fine. There's a place for you here. And our point is to point you to Jesus.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. At the end of the day, that's where we want our faith to lie in, is Christ. And whether you're Catholic or Baptist or Greek Orthodox. It's all good. We believe in Christ, and that's the whole point. Yeah. I'm really big in my faith too, so I love that aspect of the school. And I loved Matthew Oblick's speech too. He did such a great job doing that as well, pointing people to Christ, which was great. So kind of getting off of the traditions and stuff, so to speak, when you guys are kind of taking it back to like prep now, in terms of like the ability to challenge you on a day-to-day basis, because you guys obviously were overachievers during your time, academically, athletically, and all the things we listed off to start. But how did prep challenge you to improve? What's maybe like one or two things about yourself that you came in as freshmen not doing very well in, and now looking back as seniors, you can say you grew in this area?
Yeah, definitely it helped me in a lot of ways. But some specifically, definitely time management. Throughout the 4 years, me and Bella both have decided to definitely take the more rigorous coursework pathway, choosing some of the harder classes, more demanding of, studying, just time in general, whether it's work and in school, out of school. And then we both have done a ton of extracurriculars, sports, plays, clubs, student council, all that. So yeah, I'm able to learn how to balance, academics. When am I going to study for this? When I'm going to do this homework? Like how prepared I am for this? How, early out do I have to start this? And then also balancing, okay, well, I have like a meeting here, I have practice here, I have a meet here, like what am I going to eat? Just time management has been such like an impactful lesson that I've learned in these years of prep.
Yeah, that's definitely a good one.
Yeah, I could not agree more. I was actually going to talk about that, but yeah, that's like, I think been the biggest thing for me too. But then also taking some of the harder classes, I think another lesson that I've learned has been like, don't be scared to ask for help, because I think being in a more like concentrated community where the teachers, you're not scared to talk in front of your classmates. It teaches you how, like, if you're confused on something, like, you need to speak up, or else you're just going to get farther gone.
Yeah.
And going into college where it's not going to be that easy, I think it's been a really great experience to kind of like build those habits now, as far as building relationships with your teachers and like getting ahead of your studies. So I think, like, I'm just thinking about my stats class right now with which Jack's in. And like, we are constantly asking Mrs. Quinn questions about our homework and stuff like that. So
shout out Mrs. Quinn.
So I think just asking for help and like not being scared to have that like vulnerability, I guess, has been a big thing about
100%. Yeah, like not be like, it's okay to not know. And also not only did we ask Mrs. Quinn, but like just us,
all the
time.
Sometimes more actually.
Like we would get together all the time just talking about homework, like, oh, like we don't understand this, and figure it out together.
And that's such a great skill, I'll tell you. I think especially for like two kids like you guys who are overachievers, you guys strive for excellence and all that you do, and all the things you just mentioned of what you're balancing your time with, sometimes you almost feel like it's hard to ask for help because people expect you not to need help even too, because you're always putting that on yourself to do well. So it's great that you both have learned, like, it's okay to be vulnerable and say, I don't understand this. Can you explain this a little bit further?
Yeah. Another thing is definitely discipline. Bella talked a lot about it in her speech at graduation, just like showing off how important that is.
Yeah.
Like if you sign up for something or you're on a team, you have this, you have school, whatever, just like showing up, the discipline that it takes. It's something that I've learned, like I may not want to study, like a week before a test, but I have to, I might not have the time later on, or like I might be tired to go to practice or go to this meet, but I have to go. That's that discipline that you learn throughout these 4 years.
Yeah, I think it's really important. Just like if you say you're going to do something, you're going to do it. And I think the school really preaches that. And then of course, like all of our teachers and like staff members and people that like adults that we see every day, they set that example. Like, if I am going to meet with a teacher at a certain time, like that teacher is there often before me. So I think that's like, seeing that example as students is really important.
Yeah. You guys, when you get to college, you're going to see you guys are going to be so far ahead of your peers because of these experiences you've had already. You guys have put in the work to develop these habits of discipline and time management, all these things we've been talking about. when you get to Colgate, you get to Maryland, you guys are going to exceed right away because of that. And I would just encourage you, just keep your head on straight and just keep on working at that and to keep pushing yourself to strive for those things, because there's no doubt like it's going to translate into everything else you do in your collegiate career and then professionally as well. So kudos to you guys on really laying the groundwork for a great, life that you're going to have. So sorry if this question a little bit going to add for repetitiveness in your answer, but looking back as new graduates now, freshly new graduates, what advice would you give to your freshman selves walking in the halls of Prep? And it's okay if you repeat some of the,
Yeah. I would say, I feel like my answer is going to be really cliche, but I would say like, just appreciate the little things, you know what I mean? Like, the 4 years go by so fast, and like a lot of the things that we do each year, you only have one of them a year, you only have 4 sports days, 4 Marys days, 4 of a lot of stuff. And, if I could go back, or if I could give advice to freshman me, I would say just, like, not that I didn't appreciate it, but just like make sure to appreciate everything, you know what I mean? Just in the hallways or...
Look at you sounding old already. Yeah. But very wise, yes.
No, I definitely agree. Just take in everything on the little things and like take a breath. Like a lot of times I would go through like the hallways at school and I'd have like 8 tests and I'd be like running through the hallways, not talking to anybody. Like I have to do this. So slow down. Yeah, just slow down and take everything in and appreciate your friends and the teachers that are there for you. And like say yes as much as you can.
Yeah.
Like to like going to a game or, trying out for a new club or just sport or, taking a harder class, maybe like advancing into an AP. I think just saying yes to more opportunities.
Right. Yeah, you're never going to go wrong with those sort of things. Appreciating the little things, saying yes to more opportunities. That's one thing I look back on. I wish I would have said yes to more things when I was here at Prep. But it definitely wasn't until about my end of my junior year, senior year that I started to say, I better appreciate, this month of September. This is my last September here at Prep. Like, it sounds so funny to say it that way, but like I went through the whole senior year saying those things. Like, this is my last fall quarter session.
With uniforms.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the year of last.
Right.
It starts to kick in. Like, it's your last, this is the last first football game.
Yeah.
Just the last first day of school. Yeah. It's like the last homecoming.
Yeah.
Like the last Halloween, last Christmas. All the last, it's kind of makes you appreciate it more.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully there's students at Prep who are going to be listening to this episode that are, freshmen and sophomore and juniors now that look up to you guys that will get this message and really start to do that for, the rest of their time at Prep. Cool. Well, I got one last question for you guys. There's a lot of alumni and supporters who listen to the podcast episodes, which have been great. But what's one message that you would like to share with that community of people about supporting the school and helping future students have the same opportunities that the two of you have been able to experience?
Yeah, I would say just thank you. Your support is very much appreciated. I hope that throughout listening throughout this podcast, you've realized how much of a special experience me and Bella have had at Prep, and that would not have been possible without your guys' support. So I personally really appreciate it, and I can speak for the Prep community. We all really appreciate it.
Yeah,
I couldn't agree more. Like Jack said, thank you so much. And I've had like the opportunity to, meet with some of you at Legacy Gala, the President's Leadership Council, and I think, like your support and your love of the school doesn't go unnoticed, and I think it's just so cool to see as students and now alumni, like that example of how to kind of like live out the school's message throughout your whole life, of supporting each other. So yeah, just thank you.
Yeah. And when I say support, it's financially, it's with time. There's a lot of people who serve on committees behind the scene to help advance the school, and also treasure. You think about alumni that maybe have come to speak to you guys, in your classes or at quarter sessions, wherever it is. Of course, we do need to ask for money to support the school, but we also ask for time, and we ask for mentorship opportunities to speak to the classes and whatnot. So all those different ways to support are valuable, and we do appreciate that for all the alumni and donors who do so. But Jack and Bella, it's been awesome. I really appreciate the two of you guys coming back into school, even though you're officially graduated. Yeah. your first invite as alums to come in. Yeah. First as many. Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. I really appreciate you guys coming in, and best of luck to you guys in your next, 3 or 4 years, in the university setting, however fast. I'm sure you guys will get things done, and then beyond. So stay connected with the school and stay connected to prep, and look forward to catching up with you guys at your 5-year reunion.
Oh my gosh.
In 2031. So, but thanks again, guys.
Yeah, no
Thank
problem. Thank
you.
you.